Buddha Child's on the beat. Best producer in Louisiana. If you don't believe me, check out his YouTube page. He also has his own website. If you're an inspiring artist, give him an opportunity. He can put you in there. Like that guitar. My name is Sidney Combs, and I'm a young entrepreneur from Shreveport, Louisiana with a dollar and a dream. And today's message is, everyone is born with $1 million. No matter what your race is, no matter where you come from. I'm gonna read something before I get started. Madam C.J. Walker, her life story is an incredible rags to riches tale. She went from poverty as a sharecropper in Louisiana, the unofficial capital of Dixie, when she was born there in 1867, to live in replete luxury in a New York City brownstone during her adulthood. She was routinely spotted shopping on Fifth Avenue in 1916 after her businesses took off, a rarity for most New Yorkers during that time, let alone African Americans in the economy upheld of the progressive era. For African Americans well aware of how our ancestors struggled against segregation, poverty, and racial violence after the Emancipation Proclamation, Walker's success during a horrific era is a powerful inspirational symbol. Now, I'm bringing it, I want to read that for a reason. Because this is a woman that comes from Louisiana. She was a sharecropper. Came from nothing and became a millionaire. Everyone is born with $1 million. It's here and it's here. But you have to go get it. When I was a little kid, I've always loved to draw. I used to draw like little action figures, cartoon characters, Batman, Spider-Man, Captain Planet, little stuff like that. Ninja Turtles. And one thing that I ended up doing, I ended up creating my own Nike shoe. I created a Nike shoe that did not exist. I created this shoe and I was like, man, I wonder what Nike would think of this if they would maybe use my idea. Excuse me. I didn't know anything about copyright back then. I was maybe middle school. But what I did do, I decided to mail it off. Somehow I found the address to where the Nike headquarters, and I mailed it off. At least I think I mailed it off to the Nike headquarters. Of course, I never got a response, but I knew even as a child that going after your dream or going after what you love to do, that's the way to make money. So when I got in high school, I was in R1, I was in R2, and then I was in R3. And what happened during that time is I started saying to myself, I want to create my own clothing brand. Now, once I became an adult, I got away from it. I didn't pursue it. But during this pandemic, I started my own clothing line. In the year 2020, around, I want to say June or July that year, during the height where most people wasn't really leaving the house. Shirt I'm wearing. I believed in my dream, and I still believe in my dream. It took me years to get back to it, but I got back to it because I want my $1 million that I was born with. Everyone, I don't care who you are, you're born with $1 million, but you gotta get it. I know a young man. He's always played instruments. And when he was in high school, he played the violin. And he was great at playing the violin. He was in orchestra. He got a scholarship to go to college to play the violin. He also could play the piano, other instruments also. That young man is going after his $1 million that he was born with. The young man I just described is Who is Chaz. That's the producer that make the beats at the beginning and the end of my videos. We're all born with $1 million. But are we going to go after our $1 million? You can have a woman, she might not be that talented, she might not be that smart, but she's a wonderful cook. She need to open her own restaurant. That's where her $1 million is. Simple and plain. You might have another woman that she might not be smart, she might not be able to cook, might not be able to clean, but she's drop dead gorgeous. Guess what? Her $1 million is modeling. You might can see a man to where he dropped out of high school and not really all that book smart at all. But there's one thing he's very good at, and that's fixing cars. That's his $1 million. That $1 million. That's his $1 million going after that business, that automotive business to repair vehicles. See, we have the $1 million here. We have to go after it though. A lot of times we have these thoughts in our heads, but we're not willing to go after it. A lot of times because we're not disciplined. We pay attention to everything going on the gossip show. We can't keep our phone down when it comes to Facebook. And they're not watching anything that's positive, that can benefit, that can help. We watch all the gossip shows. None of this stuff helps us. And we wonder why we don't have our $1 million. That's why. In order to get your $1 million though, you have to carry yourself as a brand. A lot of times I see people and they just carry themselves any kind of way. They wake up in the morning, they don't even decide to brush their teeth, wash their face, do their hair, put on clean clothes. They don't even think, man, let me spray a little cologne, perfume on. They don't think to do that. They don't think to carry themselves as a brand. They don't think everyone that I approach, let me treat them like they're the most important person in the room. They don't think that way. They treat certain people cool, others not. But when you're a brand, you're representing something. So everyone opinion gonna somewhat have a representation of you. And people don't even think enough of themselves to look and say, hey man, let me watch how I carry myself. You can have a young man, most young black men, especially in the hood, they normally want to be a rapper or athlete, normally. And when you see these people that want to be the rapper or the athlete, you have a lot of kids that, not some kids I'm saying like, you know, they might be in their late teens, 20s, and you see them and they like ride around with drugs in the vehicle. And you like, you're gonna risk your brand for some drugs? Or they ride around with illegal firearms. And you like, you're gonna risk your freedom, your brand to carry a firearm? You don't care much for your brand. You can't care much for your brand. It's impossible. You're just gonna risk everything for what? That's not enough for you. I mean, you shouldn't be risking your brand. How you carry yourself is so important. How you talk to people is so important. If you're a person that walks around with a bad attitude, you have a terrible brand. You represent your brand terribly. Like, think about it. This is your brand. And you go into the world with a bad attitude. So now people don't want to deal with you. That hurts your brand when people don't want to deal with you. You need people. For your brand to get to the level you need to get to, you need people. How do you get there? When you struggle to even communicate with other people. Treat everyone like they're the most important person in the room. A lot of times, people wonder, man, why haven't I received my $1 million? Look how you're treating people. And the person that you're treating bad, that's the person that might have the connection to get you where you're trying to go. But because they might not look like they can help you, you look right past them. Now understanding that, man, you don't know who's going to be the person that's going to help you. You don't know who the person that's going to be elevated in a position that can get you to the next level. Next thing is to be consistent. A lot of times I hear people be quick to say, hey man, I want to start a business. And you're like, okay, that's good. That's good. When are your hours? And the person says, okay, well look, my hours of my business is from 8 in the morning to 7 o'clock in the evening. Sunday through Thursday. Friday and Saturday, we're going to be open from 8 to 10 o'clock at night. And then it might be a Monday night and it's thunderstorming bad. And that person say, you know what? Man, instead of us closing at 7, we're going to close at 6 today because it's raining bad outside. That's not consistent. Or it might be the weekend and you're supposed to close at 10 and you say, well, hey man, we trying to get up out of here early. We're going to close at 9:15 instead of 10. You're hurting your brand. You're hurting your brand when you're making these type of decisions. Why? Because you're not consistent. I don't know when you're going to be open. I don't know when you're going to close. Think about Circle K for a second. You have Circle K and that, or 7-Eleven, depending on where you live, that store is open 24 hours, 7 days a week. I was talking to someone at the car wash today, and I was telling them about just consistency. And I was like, think about this for a second. If we wanted to go to Circle K at 12 o'clock tonight, could we go? He said, yeah. I said, but what if we wanted to go at 6 o'clock in the morning? He was like, yeah. I said, what if we wanted to go at 10 o'clock in the morning? He was like, yeah. He was looking at me like he didn't. He was like, why are you asking that question? I said, what about Christmas? He said, well, they be open on Christmas too. I said, have you ever paid attention to why they make more money than these other convenience stores? Why? They consistent. We know Circle K gonna be open. We don't know if the other gas station gonna be open. They might. It's raining outside, so we gonna be closed. It's snowing outside, so we gonna be closed. Man, my stomach hurt, so we gonna be closed today. We'll open back up tomorrow. And then when they open up tomorrow, it's supposed to open up at 8. They open it up at 8:45. On a consistent basis. And then people wonder, man, my business not quite growing. Well, people don't know where you're going to be at. They don't know. It's like a person have a product in the store, and you're supposed to have this product in the store, but then the shelves are empty. You haven't been there in 3 weeks. The chips that you once created, I had to go 3 weeks without your chips, so I tried a whole nother bag of chips. Now I started liking that bag of chips. So now when you come back with your bag of chips, I'm like, yeah, but I done got hooked on this bag of chips now. So now you lost your customer like that. You lost the sale. Consistency is key. People gotta know you're gonna be where you're gonna be at. People gotta know that your word gonna be the bond. Applying knowledge. A lot of people don't have $1 million because they don't apply their knowledge. You will hear people you can see someone that goes to school for 4 years, graduate college. Person can graduate from a trade school. They can go to seminars, take online courses, and these people can be in the same position that they were before they went and applied themselves and got the knowledge. And they'll wonder like, man, I'm not getting to the money. Why? Because you're not applying the knowledge. Knowledge is not power. Applied knowledge is power. Just because you have knowledge does not give you power. You have to apply the knowledge. And we have that so many times in this world where people can listen, well, I heard that before. That's great. But when are you going to start applying the knowledge? When? And it's crazy because people talk like that's cool. Yeah, man, I heard that, like, okay. It's cool you listen to this video. That's great. But if you're not going to apply what I'm saying, you're really wasting your time. Because the message alone can't help you. The only thing that this message can do, it can turn you in a direction to get where you're trying to go. I'm in Shreveport, Louisiana. Let's say someone says, I want to go to Florida. And that person say, okay then, in order to go to Florida, I have to drive east. Okay, to get there. But the person decides, they start driving, they're driving toward Texas. Someone says, hold on for a second, man. You do know that Texas is going west. Florida is east. And then you sit there and say, yeah, man, I heard that before. But you're still driving toward Texas. Texas takes you to California. When do you start applying the knowledge? Because if you don't apply it, you will never get to Florida. But you know, Florida on the East Coast. See, knowledge is nothing if you don't apply it. We have a lot of that, especially in the black community, of everyone know-it-all. There are so many know-it-all. Man, hey, I know that. I already know that. I already heard that. I already know that they said that. I already know that they did that. Okay, well, when you gonna do what you're supposed to do then? That ain't the point. I know. What's the purpose in knowing if you're not gonna apply the knowledge? I'm not a smart person at all. I'm not smart. I graduated high school. I went and got my CDL, but I never spent a day in college. But one thing I can tell you is when I research something and I learn it, I apply it. Whatever it is, I'm gonna apply the knowledge. Everything I learn, people gonna know I know it because it's gonna be applied in my life. Facing adversity. Facing adversity is key also because you have a lot of people that have a dream, have a goal, and they might say, hey man, I want to start my new business, but I don't have the money right now. Things are tight. So you know what happened? They never even try to start the business. Why? Because the adversity is the money type. You're never going to get there. You're never going to be able to get your $1 million because you're facing adversity. You can see a woman that can go to college and say, well, I dropped out because I got pregnant. And you sit there and ask yourself a question and say, okay, that was an adversity. But things are going to be hard in order for you to get where you're trying to go. Won't you go ahead and face that adversity and keep going? Do whatever you have to do to get where you're trying to go. What if you're a man and you saying, you know what? I'm trying to start my own business. But I know I got a mortgage to pay. So I have to work this full-time job. Now after this job, of course I'm going to be tired. But guess what? Guess what? I still got to get up once I get off work and go after my dream. Still have to. I can't stop because, oh well, I'm tired. Adversity gonna always come your direction. You can't stop the adversity. If you try to stop the adversity, you spend your whole life doing that. And then you're gonna figure out at some point in time that, man, it's always gonna be adversity. It's never gonna be a perfect time to start my business. It's never. It's never going to be the perfect time to start your business. But people go through life, now I'm waiting on the right time. It's never going to be the right time. Never going to be the right time. Be ready to work overtime for your business. A lot of people can't get their $1 million because they're not even willing to put in extra work. They'll work a job, work at someone else's job 40 hours. Give them extremely hard work. And then they want to start something and they'll work maybe 5 hours a week, if that. And then when they're doing that, half the time they probably sitting down, chilling. They say, well, my business not growing, man. You got to put in overtime. If you put in extreme work at your main job, you got to put extreme work towards your business. Everybody, I know they're looking for the easy route. There is no easy route. I study millionaires. I'm not a millionaire, but I study them. I read books. And everybody I'm reading is always they worked. And they worked, and they worked, and they sacrificed, and they sacrificed, and they sacrificed, and then through time, and more time, and more time, it blew up. You rarely hear, man, yeah, I started the business and 6 months later, man, I was $1 million now. I started the business and 2 years later, I was $1 million now. It takes time. Most people are not willing to wait their turn to get their $1 million. So what am I saying? If you're not going to carry yourself as a brand, if you're not going to be consistent, if you're not going to apply knowledge, if you're not going to face adversity, if you're not going to work overtime for yourself and your business, you'll never get to see your $1 million. See, the one thing about wealthy people get wealthy because they think, not because they work so hard. See, you have to work hard to get to a certain point. But once you put in so much work and get to a certain point, then you get to a point of, it's time to think now. But you sure don't get to that point if you don't have another employee. You're doing it by yourself. But in order to get to the money, it's all about thinking. See, we think, especially in the black community, that, oh, well, in order to get to a lot of money, it's work, right? Now, the working does have to happen. You work. But then it gets to a point where it's like, now we think. See, we get that twisted. But once you start thinking and those ideas come in your head, those are the ideas that you was born with, because you're born with the $1 million. When you see people come from nothing, poverty, and become wealthy, and you sit there and wonder, man, how did they become wealthy? I can tell you how. Because at the end of the day, they was born with it, and all they did was went out and applied it. That's all that happened. They went out and applied it. So believe in your dreams. Go after your goals. Go get your $1 million. Be the best version of yourself. You already got the $1 million. It's here. Just start applying it. My name is Sidney Combs, and I'm a young entrepreneur from Shreveport, Louisiana, with a dollar and a dream. And I would like for everyone to like and subscribe to my channel. Like this video, share it with a friend or two. I'm not asking you for any money. I'm not asking you for a cash out. I'm not asking you to donate to nothing. I'm not asking you to buy nothing. Just like the video and subscribe. It doesn't take much to do that. You can support me in so many ways. And I'm not even asking for the money. Just like the video and share it with a couple people. We share mess, we share gossip, but when it comes to something that's positive, we're going to share this with someone that can help us. Also, like and subscribe to Who is Child's page. My name is Sidney Combs, and I'm a young entrepreneur from Shreveport, Louisiana, with a dollar and a dream.